Hello and welcome. Today we have the big release, happened yesterday, of the Unity release. So we're going to check that out. So the way you get to it is you just go to your normal play page and you just click on game. And it'll open up into this, which doesn't save. You can't, like the other one, you can just kind of click and your browser will save it. It doesn't work with this because it's a Unity engine, so I'll just pop this over to my other screen real quick and put in my information. So you log in a second time and hit sign in. And then the music starts playing. Doesn't, as of yet, save your preferences to turn all of this off. So you have to go in and turn it off every time. I'm sure that's something that will hopefully happen eventually. Especially if they get out of a browser client eventually. That will help. So as far as the UI goes, I only have one rater on this account. I suspect from testing things out that if you have multiple raters, this is going to be fairly miserable. Because dungeons are pretty slow and you can't multi-box or anything like that effectively. You can still do it, it's just really difficult and pretty ineffective. And the dungeons are slow enough, so really if you're playing more than one character, you might as well just stop until they have some more updates come out, because right now it's pretty bad if you have multiple characters to run. So as far as this goes, this is your dungeon key and scroll of knowledge purchase, and you can go over here and it just you hit buy and it just takes you to the economy page. So none of these, it's just redirecting you to where you can buy it, and of course none of the rest of this is in the game yet, but it's the same as the old page where you can see all the stuff that might come out at some point. Let's see, this is just your account. You can search for your characters by name if you have multiple and you're trying to find them. I assume this cycles between your characters. It took me a while to find it, but eventually I figured out you click on your character here in order to bring them up and switch their appearance and their gear and everything like that. And your abilities and stats and all of that. Of course, we have none of these are filled in yet, but they're still here. Hopefully we will get some more of those gear slots filled out at some point. But not yet, it appears. At least I haven't seen anything that fills in those slots yet. As far as the dungeons go, you can see they got rid of all the acts and it's all just in one big list now. You can click the checkbox to go to heroic. So as we scroll down, you can see the 7 new dungeons starting. At this age, all new dungeons cost 2 keys, I think. As it says X2 here, I assume that's 2 keys. It's not completely clear, but I'm pretty sure that's what that means, is the X2 is 2 keys. So they all cost 2 keys. Doesn't really matter all that much. Aurum is basically worth 0, so 2 keys, 1 key, little difference there. You're not making money off of running the game anyway, so whether it costs 1 key or 2 key, it doesn't really matter. You're just doing your 10 free runs or however many free runs we have now. I have loaded it up and had 10, so I don't know if that's going to be the new norm or not. But you can click on these, but for most people, unless you've been spending a lot of keys and grinding super hard, none of this content is doable anyway. I can't even complete Echoes in the Dark, which has been out for quite a while. I can't do that on normal yet. So I would assume I can't do any of these new dungeons on normal. But we'll click into one and see how it goes. Okay, so they have a little slider bar here in the screen now. This was a lot faster than last night for loading into a dungeon. I will say that. It was last night when I tried it for the first time, it was really rough. And it was like 10-minute wait time. So let's see. We'll use our autos and see if we can kill this guy on normal or not. Yeah, I'm going to guess with magic armor spam and all of that we're probably not going to manage it. We'll magic armor spam ourselves, of course. And he magic armored, but we can't see it. That's just, now we can. I guess we try an escape artist. So we've got him a little below half health, but I think this is about where it ends. So yeah. So we got 7 new dungeons, none of which can actually be played because you have to spend a lot of keys to get gear to get to that point. I'm still stuck on the Heroic Awakened gear. So you need to farm for marginal gear upgrades until you get epics in each dungeon in order to be able to do the next dungeon. Get epics to do the next, so on and so forth, and eventually do this. With one character, that's of course doable. I've got 480 keys, so if I spammed through it, sold everything that I got, and only kept upgrades, I could probably eventually be able to do these. Of course, if you have multiple characters, yeah, that ain't happening. Let's see if we can find a way to sell things within the game interface. I don't think so. I wasn't able to find one before. So I don't think the Shady Merchant is here. You'll have to go back over here and go to the Shady Merchant to sell anything. And you can see, like, the Autumn Leaf Armor is 65 Aurum, so you'll get a little more than double your money if you're spending keys on that if you hit a rare and get lucky. Otherwise, not so much. The other big thing, the actually exciting thing, because the dungeons and all that, you can probably tell I'm not too excited about. They've ramped the difficulty to a point where it's just not possible to play the game anymore. Unless you're grinding with a lot of keys. And the game is, when every dungeon is just a reskin of the previous dungeon, it's hard to stay motivated to continue to grind hundreds of runs. Especially when it's just progressively slower and slower and slower to do that, and demands more and more time to do that. So I've stopped playing the game for the most part as far as dungeons go. I'll probably do these free runs eventually back on, I guess, Hidden Temple. Someday maybe get an epic from that and I can move on to Enter the Temple. But yeah, it'll probably be several months before I'm even trying any of these 7 new dungeons. There's Endless Dungeon here, same as always. And then we have the duel system. So this is what would be, should be really cool. We'll try while we're waiting and talking here to get into a quick match, see if anybody else is playing. But as far as I can tell, there's no leaderboard or anything like that yet. There's no like leaderboard rewards, there's no ladder system or anything like that built yet. When that's out, it'll be really exciting. For right now, it's just the quick matchmaking and no real reason to actually do it. I suspect we're going to wait 3 minutes and not find anybody. So you kind of have to tell people that you're in it and try and get them to queue up at the same time. Because there aren't really enough people playing and there's no real reason to do quick match. Other than just testing a character. And since that's the case, you're probably not going to find too many people in quick match. You're probably just going to sit here for 3 minutes on repeat and not find anybody playing the game to compete against. But we'll sit through and see if we do run into anybody. Once they have a ladder system out, this will be exciting. And I suspect there'll be quite a few people actually playing it and playing it heavily and grinding for leaderboard spots. But as far as I can tell, there doesn't appear to be anything like that in the game yet. But we'll keep waiting. See if we run into anybody. This is about I don't know, 16 hours after release. So in theory, this should be, especially on a weekend, should be about the most likely time for you to run into somebody. So yeah, it doesn't look like, kind of as expected, it doesn't look like we're going to run into anybody playing the game or looking for a match, which isn't too surprising since there isn't really a reason to do matchmaking. It's just to test out your character. So I could try and message somebody and get them to do a match so we can test out live PvP. But yeah, you're never going to find anybody in quick match unless you're coordinating with them. So yeah, this is, you enter in someone's code if they already have it, and you generate a room code. Okay, so that's how that works. So that's what they'll actually use for tournaments and things like that. Once we have a ladder, quick match will be interesting, and we will have people actually grinding it and grinding the ladder, assuming there are rewards there that are worth getting. But yeah, the dungeon's not really... I mean, if you want to, you can grind out probably a few thousand keys to get enough epics to slowly upgrade and eventually do these dungeons. But yeah, you're looking at, what is it, a couple minutes per run times 2,000 or 3,000 runs. So you're looking at, let's say, 2,000 on the safe side at 2 minutes a run. It's 4,000 minutes. So you're looking at about 66 hours or so of grinding this game in order to experience the last dungeon on normal. Probably more than that if you want to do heroic. And you're not really going to be making an Aurum profit at any point. Only on free runs will you make a little bit of Aurum profit, and it's, you know, you might make, let's say, 300-400 Aurum a week off of a character, which is worth 0 cents times 300 or 400. So yeah, not really an incentive there to grind these up, so I'm just going to leave my character here. I'll do the free runs on it, but it's just going to continuously fall further behind as they come out with new dungeons and continue to scale the game infinitely into difficulty. But yeah, people in Discord wanted the dungeons to be hard. They are hard. You cannot complete them unless you grind a lot. I would be very interested to see what the key spending statistics are. We haven't had an economic update from Nat in a long time. I suspect it's probably because nobody is spending Aurum. I doubt, other than the few people that do tournaments, the 3 or 4 people that still do them, I don't think anybody else is spending any keys or buying any keys with Aurum. And that's probably why we haven't seen much of an update on the economic side, because they would probably have to put the Aurum spend to near 0. Yeah, so that's kind of the current state of it. We're waiting for the next update. This was the big, 6 months in the work, 9 months in the work, however long it's been, update. Can't actually do any of the new dungeons. And nobody is doing the quick duels, which is the live PvP is the big feature, I'd argue. As far as the graphical updates, I don't really notice them that much, to be honest. We can go full screen, actually, that's kind of nice. Kind of nicer. But like, if we go to a dungeon, we can actually do Let's just go to normal hidden temple. Game pretty much looks the same, really. You don't really notice any difference between the engines, which is to be expected. But we should be able to win this one, I think. At least on normal difficulty. Yeah, it's much nicer on full screen, much easier to see. So definitely make sure to hit that button. And yeah, this one should be fairly easy with magic armor spam on normal. We can probably do this one on heroic, actually. It's been so long. Okay, we got a filthy cloak. No idea what that is, but let's see. I think it's a common, yeah. Okay, so these are runes. Potions, and we don't know what this is yet. But yeah, the dungeon difficulty would make a lot more sense if we had more gear slots coming out and filling it out, and we had power creep happening, but they haven't released anything like that in quite some time. Alright, yeah, just escape to exit full screen. Very standard. I don't know if we already have. I think they said something about some free keys. Maybe we already did. I don't remember how many I had. So they may already be in there. I haven't run a dungeon in a couple of months, so other than those few. But yeah, that is the Unity update that is out now, and I believe they said they'll be on a long weekend and then back to working on hot fixes and things for the client and the whatever bugs people are running into. It does seem better already from what it was on launch day by quite a bit. It seems like they have dealt with a lot of the really big issues, like not loading into dungeons for 10 minutes, which was the case at least for me last night, which is why I waited till the day to make this video, so we could at least load into the dungeons and try and see what was going on there. Let's see what else their announcement said. Yeah, it's just pretty much more things will be coming out in the future at some point over the next few months as they keep working on updates, and this will kind of be the a bit of the new update cycle of taking a bit and then launching a bunch of content at once. So hopefully, I know they're going to have class abilities coming out at some point. In the middle, maybe in the middle or the end of the month. Yeah, it says 2 to 3 weeks, so probably the end of July. We see classes, and maybe those will up the power level of characters enough that you can do some of these dungeons. I don't know if anybody has actually been able to do them yet, other than maybe like the first one if they've been grinding tournaments. But the difficulty, like I said, is pretty high. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and upload this video. I will see you guys later. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and thanks for watching.